The House will be in order. The chair lays before the House a communication from the Speaker.
The Speaker's Rooms, Washington, D.C., June 5, 2025. I hereby appoint the Honorable Marlon A. Stutzman to act as Speaker pro tempore on this day. Signed, Mike Johnson, Speaker of the House of Representatives.
Pursuant to the order of the House of January 3, 2025, the chair will now recognize members from lists submitted by the majority and minority leaders for morning hour debate. The chair will alternate recognition between the parties. With time equally allocated between the parties, each member other than the majority and minority leaders in the minority whip limited to 5 minutes. But in no event shall debate continue beyond 11:50 a.m. The chair recognizes the gentleman from South Carolina, Mr. Norman, for 5 minutes. The chair recognizes the gentleman from Alabama, Mr. Palmer, for 5 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I rise today to congratulate Vincent High School on winning the baseball state championship for the 2A division in Alabama. On Monday night, the Vincent Yellow Jackets were headed into the bottom of the 7th inning, tied 1-1 with Pike Liberal Arts. That is when Landon Archer delivered an RBI single that sealed the deal and crowned the Yellow Jackets as state champions for the first time in 40 years. The Vincent players demonstrated the kind of grit, teamwork, and commitment to excellence that define championship-winning programs. And if the state of Alabama knows anything, we know what it means to win a championship. Congratulations to Coach Timothy Junkins, MVP Landon Archer, and the entire team on a fantastic season. You have made your school and the entire community proud, and I couldn't be more excited to join them in honoring your success. But I'd also like to recognize my alma mater, Hackleburg High School, on winning the 1A baseball state championship. In the 4th inning, the Panthers were tied with Leroy High School 4-4 when Ross Hudson, who was named MVP, singled, driving in the go-ahead run that proved to be the difference. Pitchers Maddox Vickery and Blaze Vickery held Leroy scoreless for the remainder of the game, securing the state 1A championship. This was Hackleburg's second state 1A championship in baseball. As a proud alumnus, I stand here excited to congratulate Coach John McKinney and the entire team on an incredible season for earning the title of state champion for the first time since 2007. And finally, Mr. Speaker, I rise to congratulate Second Lieutenant Caroline Robinson on her graduation from the United States Military Academy at West Point. A little over 4 years ago, I had the honor of nominating Caroline to West Point when she was a student at Mount Brook High School. While at West Point, Caroline earned the rank of First Captain of the Cadet Corps, which is the highest-ranking cadet in the Corps chain of command. Now, Second Lieutenant Robinson will report for active duty at Fort Sill, Oklahoma. I'm very proud of Caroline, and I'm thankful for her desire to serve our nation as an officer in the United States Army. I know she will serve our nation with great distinction and honor. Thank you, and I thank the gentleman from South Carolina for yielding his time, and I yield back.
The representative yields back. The chair recognizes the gentleman from Illinois, Mr. Garcia, for 5 minutes.
Mr. Speaker, over the weekend, I had the honor of joining the Gage Park community in Chicago to celebrate the life and legacy of Rangel Padilla, a beloved son of Chicago and a trailblazer in the fight for immigrant justice. In 2009, Rodrigo faced deportation, but he didn't back down. He organized, fought, and helped bring about a movement to its feet. This month marks 13 years since DACA was created, and it was leaders like Rodrigo who helped lay the foundation for that breakthrough. But long before DACA, before his name was made in national headlines, Rangel was building power among undocumented youth and demanding that this country recognize our full humanity. This weekend, a street was named after Rangel, and at a time when immigrants are once more under attack, when ICE raids, visa bans, threats to basic rights are making families feel unsafe, his story couldn't be more urgent. He taught us that being undocumented didn't mean being powerless, that we all deserve dignity. History doesn't change on its own. People like Rigo Padilla Perez make it move. Let this honorary street and anniversary be more than a symbol. Let it be a call to action. I yield back.
The representative yields back. The chair recognizes the gentleman from Virginia.
Mr. Speaker, I have a second.
Okay. The gentleman is recognized.
Mr. Speaker, I rise to denounce this administration's move to unilaterally cancel the visas of Mexican musicians and artists. Last week, Julian Alvarez, the proclaimed king of the box office, was denied entry to the U.S. and blocked from performing in back-to-back sold-out shows at Cowboy Stadium in Dallas, Texas. Not because of routine policy, but because of targeted cultural suppression. He's not alone. Grupo Firme, Espinosa Paz, both Latin Grammy-nominated artists and others have faced such abrupt denials. Canceling visas to Mexican artists is not to mute a song, it's to try and silence a force. Mexican music is powerful. It fills stadiums, it breaks streaming records, it empowers communities, it connects generations, and drives economies on both sides of the border. Festivals like Sueños in Chicago bring vibrancy, pride, and tourism to our cities, a celebration of identity. Jeopardizing it means lost jobs and sends a message that our community and our joy are not welcome. But our culture is not fragile, it's booming. It won't be erased. And it's more than a visa issue. It's a campaign to criminalize culture, to demoralize communities and create a permanent underclass. These targeted bans on certain people, history, languages, books, and now the arts and entertainment are tactics to control, invalidate, and exclude us. And in a country that prides itself for valuing freedom, it's a threat to freedom of expression, freedom of speech, and the right to exist. This administration wants our labor without our families or our culture. They want profit from us without our voices. It's more than a war on music, it's a war on dignity. A war on Mexicans, a war on Mexican Americans, immigrants, all diverse communities. And we will not stay quiet. We will continue to defend our culture with pride, que somos de aquí y de allá, inspired by the generations before us and encouraged for the generations after us. I yield back.
The representative yields back. The chair recognizes the gentleman from California, Mr. LaMalfa, for 5 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Permission.
Mr. Speaker, recently, 2 Chinese nationals were arrested in Michigan for having smuggled in a pathogen that would be greatly harmful to our agricultural crops and related the livestock or even the human use for these crops. A fungal pathogen known as Fusarium graminearum was identified in scientific literature as being a potential agri-terrorism weapon. This is what the 2 Chinese nationals called Yongqing Jian and Zunyang Lu brought into the country. They smuggled this pathogen in via their electronic devices, which contained also evidence of Chinese Communist Party membership, and the different methods with which they brought the pathogen in were hidden in whether it was their devices or in tissues, in various ways of smuggling it past customs. Now, we can't imagine what kind of a threat this would be towards our agricultural production in this country if something like this was allowed to get loose. They tried to get it into the University of Michigan through their test labs there, through the work that the university does in agriculture, and somehow maybe do what? Infect everything that was going through Michigan and coming out in the new crops. Some of the effects on it are in certain grains. It would be devastating, for example, in wheat and barley, maize, rice, indeed four of the world's most important staple crops. It would infect these crops during their flowering stage, which then reduces the grain yield and the grain quality. The grains often would appear shriveled, bleached, or pinkish, making them unusable. Also, with these mycotoxins in here, you would have an issue which would cause toxicity to humans and animals, which would be causing them to vomiting or even worse effects in the livestock or people that would happen to use it. So what would the possible impact be? It could be billions of dollars in crop losses globally each year due to lost yield, contamination, and rejection in the market. These mycotoxins would cause vomiting, as I mentioned, liver damage, immune suppression, and reproductive defects in both humans and livestock. This is pretty nasty stuff that Chinese Communist Party is sneaking in by one means or the other into this country, in this case here at University of Michigan. It's known to be funded by the Chinese government, though the University of Michigan states it has received no funding directly from the Chinese government funding this work. But it points out that we need more clarification, more clear knowledge of the status of who is funding research, who is funding colleges, who is funding universities with things like this, because this is a bigger threat than we can imagine to the American food supply, both domestically and those who would support around the world with what we produce. So one of the two nationals has been accused of multiple smuggling attempts from 2022 through 2024. Again, mentioned hiding samples in the boots or mailed in a textbook, whatever they might be carrying aboard. So what are we going to do about this? Are we going to tighten up the restrictions on what is coming in through China and have closer checks of who is being allowed to import things and what is happening at our universities? Or are we just let this go and have our food supply devastated by the constant threat of people trying to undermine and break down our country? We can't have these contaminated harvests. We can't have the continued threat to the confidence people in this country and our exporters have in the American food supply. You can't overstate what this means for agriculture, what it means for the U.S. economy, what it means for our national security of the food supply we grow and the health overall of U.S. citizens. So with that, we need to do a much better job, whether it's going to be what's smuggled through our airports or who's being allowed to bring things into this country and what their research consists of and who's funding it, mainly in this case the Chinese Communist Party and their government. It's a dead serious issue. We better take it serious or we're going to be in big trouble. I yield back.
The representative yields back. The chair recognizes the gentleman from New York, Mr. Kennedy, for 5 minutes.
Mr. Speaker, I rise today with a heavy heart to honor the life of a Buffalo police officer, Daniel Candelario, a devoted public servant, a loving husband and son, and a proud father of 3. At just 34 years old, Officer Candelario was taken from us far too soon after sudden complications from the flu. Daniel worked for 10 years, earning his badge, serving the C District with pride, integrity, and compassion. He embodied everything we ask of our public servants: selflessness, kindness, and unwavering commitment to his duty. Officer Candelario was a protector, an avid Bills fan, and above all, a family man. Daniel's wife, Dariana, described her husband as her best friend and rock. He was the beloved father to Danny, Dominic, and Diana, and the brother of Victoria. To his parents, Modesto and Lucy, Western New York mourns with you and thanks you for raising such an honorable and wonderful man. Today, We honor Daniel's memory. We lift up his family in prayer, and we grieve alongside his brothers and sisters in uniform. May Officer Daniel Candelario rest in peace, and may his memory be a blessing to us all. Mr. Speaker, I rise today to honor the life and legacy of the Honorable Judge Patrick H. Niemoyer, a devoted husband, father, public servant, and friend. Judge Niemoyer lived a life of service to our community, state, and nation. From his early days as a law clerk and his distinguished service as Erie County Attorney, Judge Niemoyer built a legal legacy grounded in integrity, intellect, and compassion. He went on to serve as U.S. Attorney for the Western District of New York and was later elected to the New York State Supreme Court until 2016, when his deep legal knowledge and fairness led him to be appointed to one of New York State's highest courts, the Appellate Division, where he served dutifully until his retirement in 2023. Judge Niemoyer achieved so much in his life, which was to be expected by a man of such extraordinary intelligence. He was a brilliant man, a member of the Mensa Society, and while always the smartest in the room, he used his Irish charm and personality to make everyone feel like they belonged. His final send-off last week included friends from all across the political and philosophical divide, lifelong Democrats, Republicans, conservatives, and liberals alike, coming together to pay tribute to a man of great honor and integrity who never allowed politics to get in the way of his friendships and relationships. A true old-school politician. He was beloved by all. Judge Niemoyer was a personal friend, a mentor of mine, and swore me into the New York State Senate in January of 2011. Also, as near and dear to his heart as his friends were, was his affinity for Camp Turner. From his childhood to his adulthood, he had a special affinity for and commitment to Camp Turner, demonstrating his continued dedication to helping youth in our community. Above all his titles and achievements, Judge Niemoyer's greatest joy was his family. His beloved wife, Elise, and their 4 accomplished daughters, Caitlin, Dr. Aaron, Dr. Amanda, and Dr. Rachel, and all their beautiful children were his heart and soul. It is through them that his love and legacy will live on. Judge Niemoyer was the kind of man who read the Buffalo News every day, who loved a good round of golf, and who cared deeply about the world around him. He never forgot where he came from, and he never stopped giving back. Let us remember Judge Patrick Niemoyer not only for his service, but for his kindness, humility, and unwavering commitment to justice. May he rest in peace and power. I yield back.
The gentleman yields back. The chair recognizes the gentlelady from Texas, Ms. De La Cruz, for 5 minutes.
I rise today to congratulate the director of the McAllen Public Library, Kate Horan, on receiving the prestigious Lifetime Achievement Award from the Texas Library Association, the highest honor for a library professional that they can receive for the great state of Texas. This recognition is a testament to Kate's leadership, mentorship, and impact. Since moving to McAllen 20 years ago, Kate has been instrumental in transforming the library into what it is today. She took a vacant big box store and grew it into the largest single floor library in the United States. She instituted award-winning programs, Programs like the South Texas Book Festival championed bilingual initiatives and expanded library resources. Kate has made the library more than just books. The McAllen Library hosts programs vital to our community, such as providing free lunches for students and job fairs to help connect South Texans with new employment opportunities. Kate, your dedication to McAllen and the surrounding area is inspiring. Thank you for your leadership and for always putting our community first. Congratulations on this well-deserved honor. Thank you, and I yield back.
The gentlelady yields back. The chair recognizes the gentleman from Puerto Rico, Mr. Hernandez, for 5 minutes.
Mr. Speaker, I rise today to address the betrayal by the government of Puerto Rico to our immigrant communities. For the benefit of my constituents and the communities affected, I will offer my remarks in Spanish. Esta foto es de un plato dominicano conocido como el tres golpes. Contiene huevo frito, salami frito y queso frito. De más está decir que lastima el corazón. Pero no lastima el corazón tanto como los tres golpes de traición que la comunidad inmigrante de Puerto Rico ha recibido de manos de su gobierno. El 19 de enero, la gobernadora de Puerto Rico dijo que los inmigrantes en la isla no debían preocuparse porque ICE no iba a ser redadas fuera de la frontera con México. El 26 de enero ocurrió la primera redada. Detuvieron inmigrantes documentados en violación a sus derechos. Ese fue el primer golpe. El 27 de enero la gobernadora dijo que iba a cooperar con las políticas migratorias del presidente. Ese fue el segundo golpe. Y ayer salió a relucir que el Departamento de Transportación y Obras Públicas, que desde el 2013 otorga licencias de conducir a las personas sin cuestionar su estatus migratorio, estaba compartiendo la información de inmigrantes con las agencias de inmigración. Ese fue el tercer golpe. Voy a ser claro, todos queremos que los inmigrantes estén con sus papeles al día. Todos queremos que quien viole la ley enfrente consecuencias. Pero nadie puede defender que un gobierno engañe a su comunidad más vulnerable. Nadie puede defender que el gobierno les pida información personal para darles una licencia de conducir y que luego entregue la misma al gobierno federal para que los investiguen y los deporten. Estamos hablando de seres humanos. Estamos hablando de niños que podrían perder a sus padres. Estamos hablando de ancianos que podrían perder a sus hijos cuidadores. El gobierno de Puerto Rico dirá que si no coopera, perdería fondos federales para carretera. Mentira. El gobierno federal, la Constitución de los Estados Unidos, asigna el poder de la cartera al Congreso y la rama ejecutiva no puede congelar fondos que el Congreso asignó para un propósito específico. El gobierno de Puerto Rico puede defender sus derechos de gobierno propio y puede defender a su comunidad inmigrante en los tribunales. 20 estados ya lo han hecho. 20. Demandaron al gobierno federal por condicionar fondos federales a cambio de cooperación con las agencias de inmigración. Y el gobierno de Puerto Rico, cobarde. En esa demanda, los 20 estados citan al menos 8 precedentes judiciales en favor de jurisdicciones que han resistido presiones similares del gobierno federal. 8 precedentes. Y el gobierno de Puerto Rico, cobarde. La historia no tendrá misericordia. El gobierno de Puerto Rico traicionó a los dominicanos, a los haitianos, a los venezolanos y a tantos otros inmigrantes para complacer a Donald Trump. Como me dijo un amigo, les dieron 3 golpes y luego los tiraron a mondongo. Mr. Speaker, I yield back.
The chair asks the gentleman to submit a transcript to the desk in English for the record. The chair recognizes the gentleman from Virginia, Mr. Griffith, for 5 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Tomorrow, June 6th, marks the 81st anniversary of D-Day, June 6, 1944. In my district, Bedford County, Virginia, is designated as World War II Heritage City by the National Park Service, the only such World War II heritage city in Virginia. Bedford County is home to the National D-Day Memorial. This memorial commemorates the soldiers who courageously and fearlessly stormed Omaha Beach on June 6, 1944. Bedford had the largest D-Day loss per capita of any town in the United States, losing 20 men on Omaha Beach. Known to many as the Bedford Boys, they were amongst the first soldiers to land at Normandy as a part of Operation Overlord. Their stories of heroism and sacrifice will be passed along from generation to generation. One of the men who sought to memorialize their heroic actions was Staff Sergeant Bob Slaughter. A native of Roanoke, Virginia, Mr. Slaughter served in Company D, 116th Infantry Regiment. Soldiers from Central, Southside, and Southwest Virginia served in the 116th. Mr. Slaughter and the 116th were part of the first wave on the beaches. When you watch the opening scenes of the film Saving Private Ryan, you will see the terror and the chaos the men of the 116th saw. Mr. Slaughter was one of more than 34,000 Americans who stormed the beach over the several days of the operation and faced heavy artillery from the Atlantic Wall and Nazi war machine. Mr. Slaughter, 19 years old at the time, lived through the horrors and mass casualties of D-Day. His company faced heavy shelling as his landing craft reached the beach. The incoming fire from enemy weapons persisted as he stormed the beach and bravely trekked up the dangerous terrain. Even though many of his unit were killed before leaving the beach, he was part of a small group that found a goat trail that was protected from the Nazi fire. That group circled behind the enemy and took out the enemy positions, firing on the American soldiers below. More than 10,000 Americans lost their lives on D-Day, including many of the Bedford-based soldiers of Company A. Mr. Slaughter received 2 Bronze Stars and Purple Hearts for his service. Later in his life, however, he wanted to award and honor the countless lives that heroically fought on June 6, 1944. The memories of these soldiers had to be preserved, and that was his task. Those memories drove Mr. Slaughter to undergo a journey to honor the lives of those young men who served our country as on one of the most daunting days in American history. Mr. Slaughter, along with others, including Lucille Hoback Bogus, who lost 2 brothers that day on D-Day, pushed for Bedford to be the home of the National D-Day Memorial. He founded the National D-Day Memorial, served as its chairman for 7 years, and later wrote a memoir, Omaha Beach and Beyond, to commemorate the sacrifices of our D-Day soldiers. U.S. President Bill Clinton signed the legislation designating D-Day Memorial in Bedford as the nation's monument to D-Day, and President George W. Bush dedicated the memorial in 2001. Every year, the National D-Day Memorial hosts an anniversary event to pay tribute and recognize the sacrifices of America's valiant soldiers. That would be tomorrow, and Bedford's not that far away. As a former member of the Virginia House of Delegates and the congressman from Virginia's 9th District, I continue to visit the memorial and pay tribute to America's greatest generation. For last year's 80th anniversary, nearly 24 World War II veterans were present. Tomorrow's event is slated to welcome several. Tomorrow's event will also feature a special panel that discusses the legacy of Mr. Slaughter, who unfortunately is no longer with us. He died in 2012, and he would have turned 100 this year. Mr. Slaughter's son will participate on the panel. The tremendous success of the memorial, the patriotism that it inspired, and the stories continue to be shared can be attributed to Staff Sergeant Bob Slaughter, Company D, 116th Infantry Regiment, 29th Infantry Division. As a resident of the Roanoke Valley, I had the honor of getting to know Mr. Slaughter. Tomorrow is about honoring 19-year-old Bob Slaughter and all the men who went to fight for freedom. What mattered was their sacrifice, their strength to fight, their willingness to put their lives on the line so others could be free. What mattered was Bob Slaughter's drive to memorialize the countless sacrifice of his brothers in arms. To all our World War II veterans, to all the families of those who served on D-Day, and to Mr. Slaughter, our nation owes you a thank you, and I thank you for your extraordinary sacrifices on behalf of American liberty. I yield back, Mr. Speaker.
The representative yields back. The chair recognizes the gentleman from California, Mr. Correa, for 5 minutes.
Mr. Speaker, today I rise to honor Diana Barrios, a homegrown, passionate community leader. Diana graduated from Oxford Academy at the young age of 16 after finishing her sophomore year. She then earned a bachelor's degree in political science and sociology from UCLA with high honors and completed a master's degree from Johns Hopkins University. Diana's commitment to public service continues to be unwavering, and I was honored to name her as one of my 2025 Women of the Year. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, today I rise to honor Coach Denise Osorio, a youth mentor, mother, and community leader who calls the city of Anaheim home. Denise is the head coach of the Anaheim High School boys and girls water polo teams. Denise took the challenge to rebuild Anaheim High School's aquatic program after 20 years with no swimming pool and no swim-in program. And under her leadership, the girls' water polo team captured the first ever CIF division title in women's sports in school's history. Beyond that, Denise is a devoted mother of 3, Nicholas, Rosemary, and Emma, and I'm honored to name her one of my 2025 Women of the Year. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. And Mr. Speaker, today I rise to honor Beverly McNeff, the co-founder of Kids Singers, an after-school youth chorus program for kids in Santa Ana. Beverly is known as Mrs. Cool. Why? Because she teaches kids that it's cool to sing together in harmony. Beverly is a former actress, broadcaster, talent agent in Hollywood, and she is married to Kids Singers founder and director Paul McNeff, where they live in Anaheim with their son, Jeffrey. And I was honored to name her as one of my 2025 Women of the Year. Beverly, keep up the good work. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. And Mr. Speaker, today I rise to honor Ana Gonzalez, a mother community leader who calls California's 46th her home. She serves as district director to Senator Tom Umberg, where she advocates for 1 million constituents, making sure that their voices are heard in Sacramento. Anna received her bachelor's degree in legal studies from Chapman University and is a graduate of Hope. And she is mother of Victoria and Cyrus. And I was honored to honor her by naming her as one of my 2025 Women of the Year. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I rise today to honor Alicia Garcia, a mother and community leader who embodies the American dream. Alicia was born in 1961 in Durango, Mexico, and made the brave decision to immigrate to the United States in search of the American dream. In the early 1990s, Alicia earned her certification as a certified nurse assistant. And today, 30 years later, Alicia continues to serve her community at French Park Care Center, where her impact is felt by her patients, her colleagues, and the families she touches and supports on an everyday basis. And I was honored to name her as one of my 2025 Women of the Year. Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and I yield.
The representative yields back. The chair recognizes the gentleman from Texas, Mr. Arrington, for 5 minutes.
Mr. Speaker, I rise today to recognize a group of remarkable young women from the plains of West Texas who are making history on the national stage. Our Texas Tech Lady Raiders softball team. These athletes have battled all season long with an impressive drive, determination, and an unmistakable West Texas will to win that has taken them from the first Big 12 championship in program history and a chance this week to win the College World Series. Coach Glasgow and his Lady Raiders represent the best of West Texas values, hardworking, humble, and pure class on and off the field. Know this, Lady Raiders, all of West Texas and all of Red Raider Nation are cheering on our fearless champions as you fight for the scarlet and the black. Now, go out there tonight, all gas and no brakes, beat those Texas Longhorns, and then turn around and beat them again and bring that championship trophy home to Lubbock, Texas, where it belongs. Guns up and go West Texas. I yield.
The gentleman yields back. The chair recognizes the gentleman from New York, Mr. Espaillat, for 5 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I rise today to honor the memory of the Lion of Lenox Avenue, Congressman Charles B. Rangel. He was a friend, a mentor, and a champion for Harlem, for New York City, and our nation. And most of you know Charles B. Rangel was a titan and my predecessor who forged countless programs, trade agreements, and new initiatives during his 46 years in this U.S. House of Representatives. He became the urban voice, the voice of urban America. When America needed a compass, needed a direction for its urban cities, it was Charles B. Rangel that spoke truth to power and led the nation forward. He was born in Harlem in the summer of 1930, right on the heels of the Great Depression, which cloaked the country into a blanket of poverty that spared no community. After dropping out of high school, Charles B. Rangel joined the U.S. Army's 503rd Field Artillery